This week on Personally Speaking, our guest is Mario Lopez. He acts, he sings, he dances, he produces. He's a multi talented guy. Stay with us for our interview with Mario Lopez. Hello and welcome to Personally Speaking. I'm your host, Monsignor Jim Lisante, and television personality, actor, and host Mario Lopez joins me now. Mario Lopez is the consummate entertainer. The two-time Emmy Award winner just recently received a star on the iconic Hollywood Walk of Fame. Mario is the host of NBC's Access Hollywood and Access Daily. He concurrently hosts the national iHeartRadio programs On with Mario and Courtney Lopez and iHeartRadio Countdown with Mario Lopez. Mario produced and stars in the new Christmas film, Once Upon a Christmas Wish, alongside his wife, Courtney, and his son, Dominic. That's on the Great American Family Channel. Mario has been actively involved in and supporting numerous nonprofit organizations for decades, including the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, Wounded Warriors. He recently launched the Mario Lopez Family Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to empowering youth through education, healthy lifestyles, and community support. In 2008, Mario Lopez made his Broadway debut as Zach in the revival of A Chorus Line, where he met his wife, Courtney. Mario and Courtney are the parents of three children, Gia, Dominic, and Santino. He's here with us today to talk about his life, his career, his family, and the importance of his Catholic faith that matter the most to him. Joining me now, I'm so pleased to welcome to Personally Speaking, Mario Lopez. Mario Lopez is our guest. We are delighted to have you, Mario, on Personally Speaking. Mario, our listeners and watchers around the world know you as an actor and producer and dancer and singer and host. But one of the things you've got going on right now is a wonderful new movie, Once Upon a Christmas Wish. And I'm just wondering, for the people who I hope are watching this program and listening to this program and are going to go see the movie, watch the movie, what's the audience for this movie? Who are you hoping will see it?
First of all, thank you for having me, Father. It's nice to speak with you and appreciate you taking the time. And this is my first foray into working with Great American Family. And I thought, well, what better vehicle to launch this relationship with than with family of my own? So I've got my wildly talented wife working with me, my son, my oldest son, Dominic, working with me, and it's fun, it's funny. They're singing and dancing. It's sort of a throwback to the old-time classic films, and it's got a lot of heart at the end of the day, a little wish fulfillment and fantasy to it, and really proud of the way it turned out. And I'm really glad we got to get it in time for this holiday season. And
Mhm.
Once Upon a Christmas Wish, launching on Great American Family, Saturday, December 7th.
That's wonderful. Mario, the first person I interviewed many years ago, and he became a very dear friend, was the film director Frank Capra, of course, who gave us It's a Wonderful Life. And
Yeah.
there's something about movies in the Christmas season that stay with us, and I'm hoping yours will be an annual tradition for people as well. Now, I'm told too, and I want to know more about this, that in the same thing, the Christmas season, aside from producing and starring in this wonderful movie, you're also getting a humanitarian award from the folks in Hollywood. Tell us about that.
Well, Hollywood Boulevard has been very special this year. I got my star on the Walk of Fame on my birthday a couple of months ago, or just last, what am I saying? Just this last month. And now I'm flattered and honored to be recognized as the humanitarian award for the charitable work that I've done, both with my church and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America and Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and recently launched the Mario Lopez Foundation. Family Foundation, pardon me, where we're helping a lot of those causes and Title IX and kids in schools, and I guess they're just recognizing me, so we're going to be with my family there and
Uh,
riding along the route. So I'm really happy to be able to do that.
it's very nice to be known for that particular title. It's great to be an actor and producer and all the rest, but a humanitarian is high, high praise. Mario Lopez is our guest. And Mario, I want to ask you because you mentioned one of your co-stars in this wonderful film is your wife. And I got to ask you about Courtney. Every weekend when I get to do weddings, in order for me not to give some canned talk on love and marriage, I ask each couple to write me an essay like, why in the whole world is this the one? When you look at Courtney and what she means to you, how did you know? What does she have that made you say, I can build a life with this woman. We can build a family.
More than anything, I think it's the timing of both where I was in my life and where she was in hers.
Mm,
Because had she come along, say 7 years prior, um, I don't know if it would have necessarily worked. So I don't always think it's all about the right person. I think it's the right timing
okay.
along with the right person. Because I don't know if she would have put up with me at that point in my life.
All right.
But I'm blessed to have met her when I did. And it never felt like it was any work. I know they say relationships work, but it just sort of gelled and it was meant to be. And she's a girl from Pittsburgh, and I'm this kid from Southern California. And we met in New York doing a Broadway play. And it just sort of clicked, and one thing sort of led to another. And I wake up, here I am, 15 years later, married with three kids, three dogs, and it's better than ever.
Mario Lopez, our guest, Once Upon a Christmas Wish is the film we're talking about that he has produced and stars in. Now, this life that you have began because you were inspired and led by and formed by and shaped by a wonderful family yourself. So tell us, when you look back at Elvira and Mario, your mom and dad, in raising you, Mario, what did they do right?
Well, I'm a child of immigrants, and
Mm,
both my parents, who just celebrated their 52nd wedding anniversary, very much together. They just believed in hard work, no shortcuts in life, um, in our faith, and
mm.
I think just keeping me grounded and humble and busy as possible, really instilled not only a strong work ethic, but what was important, in that matters, in real life, and that's your faith, your family, and your work. And to this day, that's what I pretty much focus on.
Mario Lopez mentions that his parents are immigrants, and I've been lucky enough to find records from my mom's side, which is Irish. They came in the 1820s, and the Italian side, my dad's side, from the 1880s. And it's interesting to me that both of them talk about the fact that the welcome mat in America was not an easy one, and they struggled in the beginning to become fully involved in the society. And that's certainly true from people who come from Central and South America. Do your parents find the adjustment to America an easy one, or was it challenging for them?
I, the way they never complained to me about anything. I think they had the attitude that it was such a, it was such a stark contrast from where they came from. There's just endless opportunities, and if you work hard enough, you can create your own sort of
Mm-hmm.
path and success. And then that's what they did. And I just I feel the same way, and I'm so proud of them, and I'm so grateful that they were able to create this environment where I was able to do what I do too, and they were very supportive. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any really excuse. This really is the greatest country in the world, and if you do work hard enough, and there's so many different avenues you can pursue in this particular business, um, that I feel that now is a better time than ever with the internet and YouTube and all this. You can create your own brand, you can create your own content and put it out there. And now is a better time than ever, I think, to get into this line of work, to be honest with you.
Now, Mario and Courtney are, as you mentioned, the parents of three kids, Gia and Dominic and Santino. The values that you have, at least a lot of them, come from your mom and dad. The things that matter to them have become, in some ways, important to you. For the parents and grandparents who watch and listen to a program like ours, and there are lots of them, and who are all wondering, how do they do it right in terms of raising their kids and their grandchildren? Have you and Courtney found that there's a particular way to make sure that your kids have values that last?
Well, our faith is very important to us. My wife, who's also Italian and Catholic, I think I personally, you can always meet someone and fall in love with someone with a different background, of course, and culture and what have you. But I feel you got to be at least on the same page when it comes to your faith. I think that's the
Mhm.
infrastructure. and a solid foundation on how you will raise your children. And we were raising our children with a faith-based education. They go to Catholic school, and that's very important to me. And as I've gotten older, I've started to build more spiritual muscle, and I want to
Mm.
instill that in my kids. And we're blessed with three great, healthy kids, and my daughter's about to go into the eighth grade, and my son into the what fifth, sixth. I lose track, father, and then the little guy is barely getting into kindergarten, so we got them all pretty much spread out. But and our whole motto, we tell the kids the same thing: you work hard, you stay focused, you do the right thing should happen to you.
Mario, which of your three children is in Once Upon a Christmas Wish?
My eldest son, Dominic,
Dominic. And how does he turn out to be as an actor? Is he pretty decent?
he did a really good job. I'm not just saying that. I wouldn't have put him in if I thought if I thought he would struggle or he would embarrass himself
Yeah.
or me. So he did a really good job. I'm proud of him. He's the one out of all of them that probably wants to do a little bit more in this line of work.
Okay. Now, for many of our listeners and viewers might not know that Mario Lopez had an experience that most people do not have. And I wondered what impact that had on you and your whole system of belief. Am I right that you had an opportunity to visit and to tour the Holy Land, Mario?
I did. I went a couple years ago for 10 days.
Wow.
Didn't turn on the TV once. We did the tour. And everything Jesus did and where was at, we were there.
Wow.
And because it's not that big. And
Yeah.
I was just blown away. And you get there. What I found so fascinating is I've always loved and been fascinated by faith and religion and history. And that's everything there. It's nothing but history and in all the different religions. And you found Christians and Muslims and Jews all living together harmoniously and very passionate in their faith. And you could just feel it. And
Hmm.
it was a really, really wonderful thing to see.
So would you recommend we go?
Oh, yeah. I think it's
Okay.
great. And I look forward to going back and taking my family when my kids are older.
Okay. Now, tell me this too, because for a lot of folks who have known you forever in your work as an actor, and they remember you even as a teenager from Saved by the Bell. But this process of aging that we all go through, if we're still alive, we're aging. I was 30 yesterday, and today I'm 70. I don't know how it happened, but
You look
even
good.
yeah, even Mario Lopez is someone who's part of the process of letting a year go by, a year go by. How do you put in perspective in a business, which let's face it, it lionizes youth and looks and all that sort of stuff? How do you accept
Yeah,
gracefully the experience of aging?
it's funny you say that. I was just having this conversation with my wife yesterday and on my radio show. And Nicole Kidman said something about her getting depressed lately because of her mortality, and she's only 57. And I recently turned 51, and it's one of those when you hit 50, you pause, reflect,
Yeah.
think about how you got here and what's ahead, and you start doing math in your head with the average number, and it's a weird thing. I choose to kind of just take it day by day. I feel very blessed with everything. I live a healthy lifestyle. I'm going to continue to do that.
Mhm.
Try to seize the day, seize the moment, and and practice what I preach, and that I get continue to work hard and stay focused and try to do the right thing and hope the right things happen for me and for my family. And I really love life, and so I don't want to consume myself with thinking. Um, I have a limited amount of time. And I interview fascinating people. And I had this gentleman named Gary Brecka, who this molecular biologist, and he's incredibly intelligent. And he's now saying there's people um, on Earth right now that will live, even as a community, to an average age of about 120 if they take care of themselves. I said, really? And I said, well, that's inspiring. So then I'm just hitting my stride. I'm thinking, I said, I'm going to have that approach.
And your parents are still, thank God, with us and living a good life too.
Yes, they
My
are. Yes, they
my
are.
mom, my mom went home to heaven last year at 102. So I'm hoping for those
Wow.
genes, you know.
That is a heck of a run.
Yeah, heck of a run, and she had a great life and stuff. Let's go to something else I'm intrigued by because anyone looking you up, Mario, online will find that you work and you work and you work in so many forms of the arts industry. But there's no actor I know, none, who haven't gone through periods where they had their mind set on a particular role or opportunity. They thought they were perfect for it, but it doesn't happen. In your life, when those few times when it hasn't turned out as you hoped it would, how does Mario Lopez handle disappointment?
It's happened a lot more than just a few times,
Really? Okay.
quite a few times. And that's the thing about this business is that you're going to deal with more rejection than not. And a lot of times out of your control. And it could be silly things. You're too tall, you're too short, you're too young, you're too old, you don't fit the part. And we have to know that going in, you develop a thick skin. And I just kind of had the approach that as long as I'm prepared
Hmm.
and I go out there and do my best, leave it in God's hands, and then what happens, happens, and what's meant to be. And so I've kind of been at peace at that. And I have a great support system, and it doesn't really affect me too much. Now, of course, I'm bummed out if sometimes things don't work out,
Hmm.
but things have seemed to work out at the end for the better
Okay.
in other areas. So it always, I guess, happens the way it's supposed to.
Mario Lopez, because he is this multi-talented guy, but also many of the women, when I mentioned he would be on, are very taken with his youthful looks and his athleticism, which for a long time, especially from Saved by the Bell, was a big part of your identity. And then I wasn't a person who was watching Saved by the Bell, but I probably was in the seminary at that point. But what I do remember is the first time in the late 90s when I caught you playing a very, very traumatic role of Greg Louganis, the Olympian who had to deal with HIV and all the rest of it. Do you have a hard time when you've come from a world where you are admired for your looks and sexiness? Do you have a hard time getting people to see you as a serious actor? Because when you played Greg Louganis, you had to do some serious acting and you did a great job. But I wondered, is this the first time somebody's realizing this guy isn't just looks, he's also somebody with an ability to act? Do you find people take you seriously now as an actor?
Well, thank you. It's always difficult when you're on a program as a child, as a teen for so
Mm.
many years, and it's successful, then people will see you as that particular character and you're pigeonholed, and it's kind of hard to break out. So it's more difficult to kind of transition from that young child actor to be taken serious as an adult, regardless of your ability. So I didn't want to just limit myself with just acting. I tried to
Mm.
um, focus on if I wasn't acting, then maybe I'd be hosting, which I really got into, or dancing, or doing a play, or doing the radio, doing some form of some aspect of entertainment. And when I got to spend time with Dick Clark, the legend, he's the one that really kind of took me under his wing, and I was proud to call him a friend. And he said you should focus on hosting because you're a natural host in life. You like people, you like to entertain, and you want to make sure everyone's having a good time. That's all hosting is. And so that sort of changed the trajectory of my life and career, and decided to kind of focus on that. And I still act, have obviously the Christmas movie coming out, and a lot of stuff, but that was sort of a big change for me.
When you did your Broadway stint in come on,
Chorus line.
Forest Line, I'm always amazed by these actors who can. I mean, what you do for television and movies, you do a few times, and it's taped and it's set for life. But how did you, 8 times a week, find both the energy to make it fresh for the kid who is coming to Broadway for the first time and wants to see Mario Lopez, but he's done this performance 25 times before? How do you make it fresh? How do you keep it fresh?
Yeah, well, that's a very special play for me because that's where I met my wife, and that was a bucket list thing I've always wanted to do, to be on Broadway, and that was a pretty demanding show. You're singing and dancing, and there's no intermission, um, and you just kind of have to have a new sort of approach in that. Okay, you because you can't improvise either, you can't mix it up, but you got to be just sort of militant and giving it my all. But I have to stick to my cues. I have to stick to. Um, the choreography and the lines as is because it'll throw everyone else off, the orchestra, the actors. And it took me a second to kind of realize that, but I eventually got it. And it was a great 6 months.
Yeah, and exhausting, I'm sure, as well. We had as one of our guests, Derek Jeter, the wonderful baseball player, Hall of Famer. But I mentioned Derek because I had said to him, every American kid wants to be a great baseball player, be a successful athlete, and you seem to have it all. So I asked him what I want to ask you. You are this multi-talented hyphenate, dancing, singing, producing, all that sort of stuff. I got to ask you, as I asked Derek Jeter, why do you think that God would give you all the opportunities and the talents and the abilities? What does he want you to do with it?
Well, I never take for granted the
Mm.
fact that I was a former child actor and I've been doing this now for about 40 years and I'm still uh, doing it and have made it a career out of it. And like my dad said, he's still waiting for me to get a real job. But so I never take it for granted, and I wake up every day grateful. I go to bed every night and pray and appreciative. And I don't, I don't, I don't ever relax. I still am hungry and still want to accomplish a lot. And you know why? I don't know, but the fact that I don't, it's not expected and I don't take it for granted maybe helps and continue to want to build. But I'm proud to represent my family and my community and hopefully I'll continue to do so, like my mentor, to Clark.
Mario Lopez is our guest. Once Upon a Christmas Wish is his most recent production that he's starring in. Mario, I promise I'm going to get this wrapped up pretty soon. I wanted to ask you, um, you're in a profession too where people tell you a lot of what you want to hear. There's a lot of blowing of the proverbial smoke up your dress to boost your ego. I think that comes with the territory. So I got to ask you, is it hard to be faithful in love and family life when you have so many people playing your ego and it's easy to believe your own press? How do you stay grounded? How do you stay normal and sane and not buy into your publicity?
Well, I think when you're, hello. Sorry, I thought that was my wife. And so I think when you're younger, it's much more challenging.
Okay.
It is much more challenging. But I always had that Catholic guilt. And, but
They do that so
I've gotten
well. Yes, we
older
do.
and my priorities have changed and you get a little more settled and you're focused on someone other than yourself, then
Mm,
albeit my wife, my family, um, helping and taking care of my parents, then your perspective shifts. And
yeah.
I think it makes it easier. But as you get younger, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, when you were younger, I'm not gonna lie, it is a challenge. It is a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. Mario Lopez is our guest. In your spirituality, is there anything you have ever done or could ever do that would make God stop loving you, Mario?
There's a lot I could do, I could imagine.
Yeah.
But but I try not to, you know. Um, but every day I pray for strength
Yeah.
to have the discipline to try to continue to do the right thing and to try to be a little bit of a better man and stay on the right path. Because there is always that temptation and all that, but I'm pretty good about not allowing myself to get distracted. And I've been in this business a long time, so it's there's not a lot that I haven't seen, to be honest with you. And so it would have to be something otherworldly to maybe
Yeah, I think he's
get my
loving you
way.
always and forever, no matter what. I got to ask you, for our listeners and viewers who I hope will get to see Once Upon a Christmas Wish, but are just interested in all the stuff you have done and will do, is there a particular website people should go to find out more about what's Mario Lopez doing lately?
You can always follow me on social media, and I'm pretty good about keeping everyone up to date. And
Okay.
it's Mario Lopez on all the platforms, Instagram and TikTok and X, Facebook, all that. It's my name, so we're pretty much it's me, my family, and I always say I'm all about the four F's, like faith, family, food, and fitness.
Right.
And so that's
Nothing
pretty
wrong with
much
those things. They're all given to us by God for a reason. And
it.
and final question, I promise. Um,
It's okay.
this country of ours, no big surprise, very divided, blue and red and 50 and 50. And the world, when we look around, is sometimes very much in conflict. Mario Lopez, I'm thinking back to again my friend Frank Capra. In the beginning of It's a Wonderful Life, George Bailey is kind of lost, and the question is asked, is he sick? And St. Joseph says, no, worse than that. He's discouraged. It's easy when you look at the world and our country to be discouraged. Is Mario Lopez a man who gets discouraged, or are you a person of hope? And if you are a person of hope, what gives you hope?
Yeah, I'm the eternal optimist, and I am a person of hope. And I don't try to focus or worry on things that are out of my control. I try to control my own little circle, my own little universe, my
Mm-hmm.
family, and do the best I can there. I worry about raising the kids as best I can. I worry, make sure my wife and family is taken care of, and try to help out my friends and as much as I can, and represent my community well. And whatever else happens, then it's out of my control, and I'm not really a political person, and I support whoever's in office. It's sort of like flying a plane. I root for the pilot. I just want us to get there. But I'm not ashamed to talk about my faith, and I know they say you're not supposed to, but I'm proud of that,
Yeah.
and that's an important part.
Yeah, no, I love that you're very out front about it. I'll tell you the truth, Mario, over the years, I have a lot of people on who are, I guess, nominally Catholic, but it's almost an apology. Like, I'm not trying to be public about this. I don't want to put people on the spot. And I don't think it's putting people on the spot to say, as you said, I have a system of priorities, and my faith, my family is essential to me. And the fact that you would say, as you said earlier in this interview, that you love and treasure this country and see it as the greatest country in the world. Those are things to be proud of that are wonderfully important things. So faith, family, love of country, Mara, you're on the right path from where I'm coming from, and I so
I
thank you for sharing that with us. And personally speaking, for our listeners and viewers, this is Mario Lopez. He's a wonderful guy, but I also hope you will watch and stay
Hold
with
on,
me.
bud. Come here, hon. Okay. Hold on.
Who we
My
got?
wife just got here.
Oh,
We're
excellent.
talking
Hello,
about
Courtney.
you.
How are you?
I'm well.
Monsignor
How are
Jim Lisante,
you?
how are you doing? Thank you for popping in, because you just improved the whole neighborhood by 100% just by coming on screen. You know that.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Is there anything about Mario we should know before we air this program?
Answer that question.
What you see is what you get. He's the
I
best.
love that. Good. And by the way, you should ask him to show you this interview, because he said wonderful things about you.
Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah.
With repercussions if he doesn't.
Yeah, we'll make sure we send a copy to you. So,
Thank
Courtney,
you.
Mario, Merry and Blessed Christmas. Thank you for being on Personally Speaking, and we're keeping you in prayer, all right? Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it, Father.
Thank
I need
you
him.
so much. Happy holidays.
Take care.
You too. Thanks for being with us on Personally Speaking. If you need to reach me for any reason, you can do that at personallyspeakingpodcast@gmail.com. You probably listened to this program on the Catholic channel, 129. And you can do more than that. You can watch it as well on YouTube if you'd like by searching under Personally Speaking with Monsignor Jim Lisante. We're also on Facebook at Personally Speaking with Monsignor Jim Lisante. We're on Instagram at Personally Speaking Podcast. Please share and let others know about Personally Speaking. I'm delighted to serve as host and executive producer of Personally Speaking. Our producer is Lisa Jandovitz. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be with you again next time on Personally Speaking.